Traditional communities. Riverside. Riverside peoples are those who live near rivers and have artisanal fishing as their main survival activity. They cultivate small swidens for their own consumption and can also practice extractive and subsistence activities. Traditional populations, including riverine people, were recognized by Presidential Decree No. 6040/2007, in which the federal government recognizes, for the first time in history, the formal existence of all so-called traditional populations. Over the course of the 6 articles of the decree, which established the national policy for the sustainable development of traditional peoples and communities, PNPCT, the government expanded the recognition that had been partially granted, in the 1988 Constitution, to indigenous peoples and quilombolas. Thus, all public policies resulting from the PNPCT will officially benefit the set of traditional populations, including Faxinalenses, the Pasture Bottom Community, Pantaneros, Caicaras, sea fishermen, riverside dwellers, rubber tappers, chestnut trees, Babasu coconut breakers, between others. The traditional population that lives near the rivers and survives from artisanal fishing, hunting, swidens, and extractivism is called riverine. Due to the geographical aspects of the country, most of this population is located in the Amazon. In addition to the native populations, descendants of migrants from the northeast of the country are added to this category. History. In the second half of the 19th century, many Northeasterners left their homeland and went to the Amazon in search of jobs offered by companies that operated in the cycle of extracting latex from trees known as rubber trees. In the 1950s, with the rubber crisis, as the fall of the Brazilian latex market became known, the rubber tappers, as those dedicated to the extraction of this material were called, were left with no alternative work. The absence of public policies dealing with the demobilization of this contingent of workers made them spread out along the rivers of the Amazon rainforest, like the Rio Negro and Rio Amazonas, where they built their homes. As they live in an environment where the force of nature is present, the riverside people have learned to live in an environment full of limitations and challenges imposed by the river and the forest. The relationship of these people with natural changes made them adapt their daily lives, their way of living and seeking means for their subsistence. Their houses are built using wood as the main alternative for construction. The vast majority of houses are on stilts, do not have electricity, running water, and basic sanitation, and are located near the banks of the rivers. Built a few meters above the river level to prevent them from being invaded by the waters during floods, the stilts still have the technology of using boards to raise the floor during the flood periods. The river plays a fundamental role in the life of the riverside people. It is through it that the connections between the localities are established with the use of rafts and boats as the only means of transport. The river is your street. It is also where the riverside people perform one of the main activities that provide them with a source of income and survival: fishing. The planting of corn and cassava, the production of flour and the collection of nuts and acai also occupy a prominent place in the agricultural activities of the riverside communities. The differentiated relationship with nature makes the riverside people great holders of knowledge about aspects of the fauna and flora of the forest, the use of medicinal plants, the rhythm and path of the waters, the sounds of the forest, the times of the earth. This conviviality feeds the culture and knowledge transmitted from father to son. However, riverside communities live with economic and social isolation, staying on the sidelines of a series of public policies and quality of life control mechanisms. The geographic situation of many of these communities is one of the main factors limiting access to basic health and education services.